Well, earlier, right before noon, around 11:48 a.m., our officers responded to a serious crash that happened here at US 20 and County Road 33. This involved 2 passenger vehicles and a semi-truck. And at this time, we do have 1 fatality. We have a female that has passed away from the crash. As far as what we do know at this time from the crash, we know that the passenger vehicles were heading eastbound on US 20, and they just crossed the intersection there at County Road 33. One of the vehicles was slowing down, and we have a second vehicle that had rear-ended another vehicle, forcing that car into the opposing lane of a westbound semi-truck. That's what resulted in the crash. But at this time, we have our crash team investigators that are on scene trying to piece everything together. So obviously they're wanting to speak with witnesses. And with the condition of the vehicles and the truck being overturned, we're going to be out here for a while before we get everything cleaned up and get traffic moving again. So for those that are in the Middlebury area, the US 20 area around County 33, we'd ask that you take or seek alternative routes at this time. So it's going to be a while before we have the roadway cleared and cleaned up.
So is this a male in the truck, the pickup truck, or with the cab, and then a woman in the car? Is that?
Well, we have the semi-truck driver. He's fine, and we have another driver of the other vehicles. I believe he's at the hospital right now, just checked out, observed for any injuries. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
And the woman was in the car?
The female that was driving, she has passed away from the crash.
But she was driving in the car?
She was driving the car.
And as a result of this, it looks like there were some things that went on with the semi. Describe what was in there and what action first responders took with that.
Well, you know, first and foremost, everybody's safety is of concern. Obviously, with the situation like this, you want to contain it and make safety the top priority. We have a truck that's overturned, so we have traffic issues. You know, that's one of the reasons why we have the roadway blocked off, is to keep everybody safe, keep the scene as safe as possible for responders. So the responders that did arrive, we had to use the fire department because the truck had caught fire with one of the other vehicles as well. So we have those crews that are out here trying to put the fire out. Look at one of the houses that's nearby the scene. That was affected by the fire from the truck as well. So we have a scene that could have potentially become more of a risk for others. So the responders did a good job as far as coming here, doing their part, doing their job to contain the fire. The truck driver, he made it out okay, was not injured from the crash. Other issues that caused delays at this point is not only is the truck overturned, but there was some cattle inside the truck that has to be attended to at this point. So we've got to call outside help to retrieve those animals and properly care for them as well at this time.
Do we know where the truck was heading with the cattle?
I don't have that information at this time. All I know about the truck that it was heading westbound, and I don't have information on where that truck was trying to deliver the cattle to.
Any idea on the role road conditions might have played? Or weather conditions, or both?
You know, at this point, it's kind of early in the investigation to really make those kind of determinations. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why we call the crash team out. We have experts that are on scene that are going to actually ask those same questions, you know, with weather, weight, road conditions, which you can't, at this point, narrow down to one idea or thought. But as far as the investigation, you're going to look at the whole scene. You're going to look at witness accounts, the drivers that we can, and the drivers that are here that can actually testify to what actions they took or what they did prior to the crash happening. All that's going to be really important in this crash to determine what really happened and how it happened.
Did you say
Well, I think if you look at the side of the house, you can see where either the flames, the heat source from the truck actually melted the side of the house.
And as far as we know, the fire came after the crash?
Again, I don't want to, you know, it's easy in a crash to say or make an assumption that something happened, but you know, as far as the crash goes, it's obvious that the fire didn't happen before the crash. Something happened after that.
Just to clarify, what kind of cattle was that? They were younger calves, weren't they? Like dairy or?
Again, I don't have information on what kind of cows or calves they were, but we do know that the truck was loaded with I don't want to, I can't release the information about the victim until proper notification is made to the family.
Did you guys have witnesses that were here, other drivers that weren't involved in the accident?
I don't have that information at this time, but you know, that's again, like, go back to what I said earlier about the crash scene. We have our investigators that are on the scene that'll be asking those questions. Obviously, we want to speak with all the witnesses that may have seen something. There could have been even witnesses that saw the crash that didn't stop. So if anybody that has knowledge about the crash or seen it that isn't here any longer, the crash investigators would like to speak with them as well.
And just personally, it looks pretty horrific out there. I mean, from the 3 vehicles, and I mean, from your perspective, covering accidents.
Well, I think anytime you have a crash, anytime you have a fatality crash especially, they're all of concern, and that's where, you know, as law enforcement, as we respond to these and we have our crash teams that are set in place for these types of situations, we want to make sure that, one, that we try to get it as right as much as we can by the evidence that's here, that we collect as much as we can. And so that's why you're going to see in a big scene like this, it may take some time before the road is opened up right away. So you would say, well, why don't you just take a tow truck, get the truck out of here and open traffic back up? But there's really important pieces of stuff that we've got to collect while we're here, and for the family's sake as well. You know, later on they're going to want to have the same questions answered that everybody's asking right now. So we want to do a good part, do our job as law enforcement as we look at this crash, that we don't make any snap judgments, that we're going to actually take the scene in and collect as much as we can while we're here, whether that's through video, photographs. The crash team members that are here, they have special equipment that actually maps things out with lasers, so they can actually go back later on and draw and place where every piece of this crash is at, so where all the vehicles are at, where they landed, any skid marks, gouge marks. We're going to look at all that stuff and piece that together along with any witness accounts. So hopefully with all that information and putting that together, we'll have a more true representation of what really happened.
As of right now, do you have an estimation of when the road might open up, or is it too soon to tell?
I would say minimum at least 2 hours. You know, and it could be longer than that depending on as they get involved with this. You know, but at this point, I'm going to say a minimum of 2 hours. So we ask for everybody's patience as our guys are still working on this and collecting evidence and trying to piece this back together.
The major roads, would it be 15 that way?
Say Route 15 would be a good alternative route, and then say Route 13 on the other end over here.